Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to Counselor's Couch 101. I'm Jim Stump, and I really appreciate you stopping by, and I appreciate your comments and suggestions. They're always helpful. And in a previous video, I said I was trying to find some more positive stories to share, especially going into the Christmas time, because there are too many difficult things out there for all of us to deal with, right? And we need to take a better view of life somehow in order to cope and to keep going and to keep progressing and to keep giving, right? And I was thinking, someone once said that the measure of love is what someone is willing to give up for it. The measure of love is what someone is willing to give up for it. And I immediately thought of Sydney Carton. You all remember Sydney Carton, I hope? It is a far, far better thing I do than I have ever done. It is a far, far better place I go than I have ever been. What's that all about? What is he doing? Thing he's ever done, he did something for love. He loved a woman and he wanted her to be happy. And a better place that he's going to go, he's going to a place that allows the love of his life to be happy, right? He is taking the place of someone who could bring that happiness to the woman that he loved, right? Sydney Carton. Now, that's how much someone is willing to go for that particular love. And there are many who are willing to sacrifice themselves for the person they love. There are many who have walked away from people they love because they knew that they couldn't bring them happiness, and they knew that the other person wanted something other than the person who was walking away, right? And sometimes that's the right thing to do. If you can't make somebody happy, then allow them to go on and be happy. Sometimes that means breaking up a relationship. Not a really fun thing, is it? But I told you I was going to give you some positive stories, some happy stories, and like that. I don't know if we think of Sydney Carton as being a happy story or not. It certainly is a love story. There can be no doubt of that. But people who do things for others, they do things that might hurt themselves in order to please another. That is the type of thing we're talking about, the measure of love. What are you willing to do? I also thought of Laurel and Hardy, right? Does anyone remember Laurel and Hardy? Stan Laurel and Oliver Hardy. Well, there was a story I came across, I don't even remember where, about Oliver Hardy. When Hardy passed away, he left behind a wife, right? And eventually that wife remarried. And it seemed that even though she loved her husband, her then husband, and like that, her heart was truly belonged to Oliver Hardy, who was gone, right? And so this husband, seeing his wife was so unhappy, what do you think he did to help her get over that depression and that longing and that missing of her first husband? He went out and he got copies of all of Laurel and Hardy films. And what he did was he set up a projection room in his house, and he sat his wife down and he played those movies for her, right? She sat and watched the movies and watched her first husband, and she cried all the way through it. And when she was, they got to the end of all the movies they were viewing and like that, she went up to her husband and she thanked him. What are you willing to do for someone you love? Quite a thing. Could we release someone we love to someone else because we love them? A lot of people have done it. A lot of people have felt that their lives have been destroyed by doing it. But in somehow, some way, I think it empowers us. It empowers us in the sense that we know we're strong enough to do something like that. It's the same thing with soldiers who go to just wars. I'm not talking about just any old war for people to make money and decrease the surplus population. I'm talking about a just war where someone goes to defend a country or a people and like that. What more expression of love can you give than to put your life on the line for other folks? So that's why I hope all of us appreciate those who have served and those who have served honorably and in just wars and like that. And what have we done What have you done for someone you loved? Have you allowed them to be cantankerous? Have they stored up enough emotional credit with you that you allow them to be in a bad mood sometimes? I just saw a movie, Yes, Virginia, There is a Santa Claus. I've seen it many times. I look for it over the holidays. But at any rate, at one point, the father of a family is complaining to his wife that he doesn't have any money for Christmas presents and this and that, and she's saying we have everything we need. The wife is saying we have our family, we have a roof over our heads, we have clothes, we have food, we're fine, and he's complaining that he doesn't have a lot of money to buy his kids presents and all that. And as he's shouting at his wife, not shouting, but vigorously discussing, right? The kids come out from their bedroom and they're standing there, and the father turns around and he says, I'm sorry, kids, there was a madman here a minute ago, but he left. Are you willing to change your mood in that moment for the children you love, for the people you love? And from the wife's point of view, was she willing to endure his displeasure with himself and his circumstances in life in order to give him what he needed? And at that moment, he needed to vent. He needed to vent his frustration. And she allowed him that. And it didn't break up their relationship in the least. She understood him. She gave him what he needed. And he calmed down because he was able to do that. She was able to do that. I've said that many times. I've said it in counseling sessions, and I've said it here in previous posts. As I used to watch the news, the ABC 19 News, whatever it was. And I'd get really, really angry at what I was listening to. And I'd find myself shouting at the television set. And then after a minute or two of shouting, I'd realize how ridiculous I was shouting at the TV set. And I'd start laughing and say, you're an idiot, Jim, calm down, Also, I determined to not watch news anymore because I found it that upsetting. And I recommend it to other folks. If the things that we are encountering in our lives are making us unhappy and upsetting us, we need to start thinking about taking them out of our lives. We have the power to do that. And why might we want to do that? Because we don't want to spill that venting, that disagreement, that displeasure out onto the people that we care about. We might want to make that move because we care about them. So we are not going to allow ourselves to be influenced by negative images and thoughts and situations because we don't want to be negative to the people that we love and care about. Who else do we love and care about? How else do we show the measure of our love, what we're willing to give up for it? I imagine there are a lot of ways, and I'm hoping that I'll get a lot of comments about how to do that in the comments section. And please send me send me emails. By the way, you can email me at counselorscouch101@mail.com. counselorscouch101@mail.com if you want to send a long version of some sort of a information you want to send over. Please send them over. I really appreciate them. I learn greatly from your comments. I want to learn more from the people I talk with than they ever learn from me. That is really true. And once again, it's that synergy. We come together in understanding, and people improve and get better. So how can we display our love for the people that we care about, right? What are we willing to give up? What petty grievances and venting techniques are we willing to give up for the people we care about? Are we willing to stop an annoying behavior? I'm thinking of such things as smoking cigarettes or vaping or drinking alcohol or things like that. Are we willing to give those things up for the people we love? What is the measure of your love, right? And as you look at your family going into these holidays, maybe that's something you could determine and measure for yourself. What are you willing to give up for them, And I often go on the theme of caregivers. Caregivers usually give up everything for the other people, but they don't get something back. And I invite you, and I keep reminding folks again and again and again, keep your eyes open for the caregivers who never take anything for themselves because they feel they are not deserving of anything. That's why they do it. All right? What are you willing to give up for that person, to help that person, to let that person know that they are appreciated and that they do deserve good things? How are you going to accomplish that? You know, this whole world could go, we could go a lot further into making this a happier place if we just kept awareness of these types of things and shared them when they came into our awareness. Share the things that we know about helping people get along and be happier in the world when we can do it, right? Random acts of kindness, right? Isn't that a measure of how much we care about other people? Just do things without expecting something to come back. Of course, why else would we do them? I've said it before and I'll say it again. My my best example, my favorite, let me put it that way, my favorite example of doing for others without accepting something back was the Lone Ranger. Yeah. Anybody remember him? What happened to him? He was beaten up by a gang and left for dead. And then an Indian found him and nursed him back to life. And from that point on, the ranger determined that he was going to go out and help people who needed help. And he wasn't going to require any sort of a payment or an appreciation at all. He simply was going to do what was right in the world. And he was going to take his pleasure and his self-esteem and his satisfaction from that. What are we willing to do for the people we love? Think about it. Put it in their stockings, right? What are we willing to do? And then let me know what you came up with, what you thought of, what you can add to what we can do for the people we love. If you share it with me, you're sharing it with others. You're sharing it with hundreds of others. And potentially, like that word, potentially hundreds of thousands of others through the network that we are creating here on YouTube, right? And the various connections we're making with the people who are on different posts here. So share your ideas about how we can more appreciate the people we love. What can we do for them to enhance their lives? And share them here so that we can all benefit from it. I am still wishing you a very merry, happy holidays, however you experience them, however you enjoy them. And I look forward to talking with you next time. Thanks for dropping by.